Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome back to Love Babs Love Talk on Babs Rose Ivy. We up early. And guess who's up early with me? IfeMichelle Gardin, my bestie. Good morning.
I just left you.
I know. I know. We just saw each other. How are you?
I'm good. I'm well. Thank you.
I'm excited about this conversation. Who's America? This is part of the International Festival of Arts and Ideas. It's
Yes, it,
happening Sunday, June 28th. It's a free event. It's going to be at the New Haven Museum. It's a timely conversation. You've got four contemporary literature's most vital voices coming together to examine race, citizenship, and what it means to write yourself into a national story that has not always made room for you. And so, two of the folks were scheduled to come on this morning. Hopefully, they can still join us. Victoria Buitron, that's how you pronounce her name. A
which
body across.
a
How do you
body
pronounce it?
across two
A
hemispheres.
body across two hemispheres, and we all know Krystal Marquis from the
Yes.
Davenport book series.
Yes. So
So,
their books are they're and the other two women are Zakiya Davis
mhm,
and oh my God, I always forget this woman's name. Christine Handick.
mhm.
Just three names.
And
She
what do they write? What are they writing about?
so
What do they write about?
so Zakiya Davis, of course, we know did the other black girl.
Oh yes, yes,
Harris.
yes. Which
Russell Davis. Harris. And her parents are professors over at Southern, so writing is in her blood.
yeah,
Uh,
Frank, right?
And
He used to write for
Audrey
the inner city back in the day, in the early days of the inner city.
and her mom Audrey is in the English department. And the other book is The Girls from Queens. Oh my God. That book, I should have put them here with me, but that book is fire. So all of them, their books are really phenomenal. And of course, the the other, as folks should know, the other black girl was a series on Netflix, still is up there, a series. So they're all women centered. Oh, Victoria's here.
Mhm.
All the stories are women centers. Victoria's book is actually Body Across Two Hemispheres is a memoir of growing up in Connecticut. And good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? It's such a pleasure
Welcome,
to be here.
welcome, welcome. So we're just starting the conversation, Victoria, and I'm so glad you could to jump in because y'all are doing the International Festival of Arts and Ideas, and this is the ideas piece when they take topics that are timely and up to the minute, and they put people together to talk about them. And so y'all are talking about who's America, and so the diversity of these authors across I guess the diaspora, Ife, they have differing
They
voices.
are across the diaspora, different voices,
And at the same time, different genres
and they're
of
the same.
writing.
Yes, exactly. At the same time, different genres of writing.
Mhm.
Because, like I said, Victoria did a memoir. Hi, Crystal.
Morning, Krystal. So nice to see you.
Good to see you. And Crystal is, I think you're still muted, Crystal. Um, Crystal is historical fiction.
Yeah.
Which is
Hello,
enjoying
everyone.
a real renaissance right now. Historical fiction is enjoying a real renaissance. I mean, we're all enthralled with the Gilded Age, but there have been, all kinds of uh, similar like stories coming out with Black folks centered in these stories. Like, the Bridgerton stories and all of that. So you all are doing this panel. You're coming from different perspectives. Victoria, your book is a memoir, a body across two hemispheres. And I believe Ife was giving me the tea last night about what your book is about. You were raised in two different places, like
Yeah.
you spent some time someplace, and then you went to another place, and then you went back to another. So give me 2 seconds of that.
Well, it really is a migration story and also a return migration story. When I was originally writing it, I thought that I could write it in chronological order about, oh, when I was 5, I came to the United States and this is what happened afterwards. But then I realized that my story, like so many other stories about immigrants, are so complicated that I actually wrote it in a collection of essays, and it's also organized by location instead of by time.
And
So it's so hard to pitch it because I'm just like you said, I was here and then I was there and I was back there. But I just feel like at the end of the day, that is the United States, that is America for you. And so that's why I'm so glad to be on this panel.
And I,
and
I
I,
like that it's a migration story it's your memoir, but it's a migration story, and we're having all these conversations about who belongs here and who gets to stay and who gets to come.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I have an essay in that book called Chain Migration. And I always say that I'm kind of here just by, coincidence. And an aunt decided to come in the 60s. And then it was all from there that she, petitioned her brothers and sisters to come. And that is how I ended up with a mother who was born here in the United States, but grew up in Ecuador, and a father that she met, my father, who she met when they were both teenagers in high school in Ecuador. So it's kind of this very complex background that I have, and it's so hard just to answer the question, where are you from?
Okay, that's a good place to be.
and
That's a good place to center this. Ife?
I appreciate the correction, Ecuador. I haven't ever heard it pronounced like that. And I was going to say, it's so many levels. It gives you a perspective of the experiences of of the people who migrate here, as well as like levels of and working around rich white folks.
Yeah.
Like I could some of the stories about your father working as a garbage man in Fairfield County
Yes.
can be my grandmother and her sisters who had degrees from Southern black schools coming to Connecticut and having to clean houses
Yeah.
initially, like because things don't equal up for them for the white folks. But it
Mm.
was a wonderful migration story.
Thank you so much.
So Crystal, what do you say to people who had no awareness of black folks living the way they live in these in a particular time frame? Do they believe it? Do they trust it? Do they and what was it like for you to discover it?
It was interesting to discover it because, like you said, a lot of people don't know about it. They didn't learn about it in school, so it wasn't something that was readily available. For even researching for the book was difficult because there wasn't a lot of it like readily available. And for me, when I encounter readers, the first thing people tell me is that, oh, I read the author's note and then I started Googling. And I think that is the thing that brought me like the most joy, was that it sparked so much curiosity for people to go in and find the information themselves and follow other figures. Like I talked about how Amy Rose's character is inspired by Madam C.J. Walker. And I think a Netflix movie had just come out about her. So I think it was media from different directions that all happened at the same time that was like really instrumental in people saying, oh, this really happened. This is fiction, but this really happened. There were people who were able to amass wealth and have great achievements, inventors. They were they were real people. And I think that for them to take that next step of, filling in their own gaps in knowledge was really rewarding for me as a writer, and then created so much dialogue online. It was great to see that. I'm a little bit of a lurker, so I'll go in and I'll see people discussing things and sharing history, and all the short form videos just, diving deeper into what was going on at the time, and the excitement in learning it and sharing it was just so beautiful.
And also, you you point out so well, like historical events that happen
Mhm.
that, oh gosh, the young lady that's the main character, she gets involved in, but she's like curious about, and it's like activists now think that they just started now.
I think it's new.
It's been going on with some young people for a while.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
A lot of
so
times it starts in the young people, the college students who are protesting, who lead the change, the young ones who see their parents struggle and know about the promise of being able to achieve more, and they're seeing that difference, and they're banding together to, speak out and highlight all the hard work that other people are doing, and, you know, the work that still needs to be done.
Mhm.
so when y'all think about Who's America, both of these stories, very different stories. One is a memoir, one is fiction. Uh, um, uh, does it all belong? Where does it fit? Do you see it as American? Do you think about that when you are talking about what you write about?
Krystal, you
Definitely.
can go first.
Definitely. I think it's all part of America. I think, in school you learn about America being a melting pot, and where all different people come together and share their beliefs and their culture and their ideas, their food. And I still want to believe that that's true. And I think that stories like this help people see that it can be so much more than your personal lived experience.
That's lovely. Yeah. And I completely agree with what Krystal said. And to add to that, I would say that when I was younger, um, I kind of didn't have this representation of Ecuadorian American writers. And that was also one of the reasons that I wanted to write about my lived experience, because I was like, I grew up with a lot of novels and memoirs by Puerto Rican writers and Mexican American writers. And I loved that. And that was so great for me. But I never saw myself represented in that. And it's like there are Ecuadorian Americans. We do belong. There's a little Ecuador in Queens, you know? Like we exist, we're here. And I think that one of the moments that made me the happiest is that someone sent me a message through Instagram and they were just like, just want to let you know that I never grew up seeing myself represented, talking about Ecuadorian food, talking about living on the coast of Ecuador, but also living in the United States and being able to see that written down in a book. Just please know that your book will stay with me for a long time. And I was like, this is why one of the reasons I write, because I needed that when I was younger, and maybe I can help someone also find themselves represented in something that I write.
Tell me, do you feel the pressure of responsibility to rep whoever you are in the stories that you tell? Meaning, if you're Ecuadorian, do you feel like you are writing from an Ecuadorian place? Do you always tell Ecuadorian stories? Krystal, do you jump to a new genre? Do you stay in historical fiction? You know, is there some other genre that you want to get into, or you feel like you've not exhausted, you know, um, this kind of book storytelling? Both of you.
For me, there's this funny scene that has stayed with me. This is very random. From the show Girls, where one of the main characters say, I don't want to be the voice. I just want to be a voice. And also it was supposed to be like a really funny, and it just stayed with me. And I was kind of like, yeah, this is true. Like, I am not the voice of anything. I am not someone that represents Ecuador fully in any way, shape, or form, just because there's some, we're very regionalistic. Growing up in the coast is very different from growing up in Galapagos or in the Sierras. So I never want to say, oh, I represent Ecuador fully. It's just my lived experience and what I went through. So that's what I would say about that. And regarding genre, actually, yeah, I have jumped. I never thought that I would jump, but my second book that came out last year was actually a poetry collection called Unbearing the Bones, and it was completely different from the first book. Still very tied to lived experiences, but it was a completely different genre because I felt like what I wanted to say for that book, I couldn't write it in prose.
Mm.
I agree with Victoria about you want to be a voice. And I think there's such a broad spectrum of growing up in America where you're probably not the standard of beauty that we grew up seeing. And I think that for me, my characters being from very different backgrounds, having different family units and different interactions and beliefs is really what I want to represent. And I think each character has a little bit of me in it. And I think that writing in historical fiction makes it fun to bring that history to the forefront. I'm a big history nerd, and for me, it's always really fun to do the research to pull that into the story. My current project that I'm writing now is historical fiction, and I really do enjoy it. But I have written things that are science fiction that's not published yet, and I wrote a short story in an anthology that I thought was contemporary, but apparently the 80s is also considered historical fiction now, which is like
That's
rude.
funny.
That's
Yeah,
very rude, actually. That's a
yeah,
little bit insulting.
yeah. And so it's
Exactly.
yeah, so it's 13 Little Love Stories inspired by Taylor Swift music, and I wrote a story set in the 80s, and they're like, "Oh, so we have the historical fiction one." And I was like, "Wait, what?" But for me, there's so much nostalgia that comes from bridging past events with feelings that people still have here in the now. I mean, you brought up Olivia talking about activism and getting involved and learning about what's going on in other parts of the country. And yes, that's set in 1910, but there are young people today, there are adults today who probably live sheltered lives who are just learning about some of the hardships people are living today. And they're
Ex-
just becoming aware and they're learning and they're getting involved. So I think that the feelings are the same no matter what time period is being presented.
That's an interesting question too, Babs, because in the other two books, the other black girl and the
That's
girls
what
from
I'm gonna say. I was gonna ask you to talk a little bit
those
about the other two authors.
so those two books are in the 80s and 80s, 90s, and are coming of age stories. Well, the Girls in Queens is like 80s, I believe, and then Zakia's is probably 90s, early 2000s. That at 66 years old, that was very modern for me. Like, okay, because but now I'm thinking that's probably historical fiction. But anyway, the other two stories are like the kids book is almost a thriller. Like um all kinds of mystery and things happening.
And so
Um
Zakia's book is the other black girl that was turned into the
Zakia's
mini
book.
series.
Yes,
Okay.
Zakia, the other black
And
girl.
that's
That's
a whole other genre that you don't see us in, but
Mm.
you're starting to
exactly.
see us in.
Exactly. And when you start reading it, you think it's one thing and it turns into another thing. And then the girls from Queens is just it's like you hear hip hop. I lived in New
And
York, so
she's a Latina too. She's a Latina, the
yes, she is.
author, and
Hmm.
she's Latina from
I believe her background is Puerto Rican.
Puerto
She's
Rican.
Puerto Rican. She talks
Yeah.
about being Puerto Rican in Queens, growing up in Queens. The girls are growing up in Queens. They're Puerto Rican. All of the stories, as I was Well, I read the Davenports a couple of times, so I knew that of that in memory from the past. But as I was reading um, the other black girl, the girls from Queens, and Body Across Two Hemispheres, thinking these are all the things in this 250 America or six whatever we are 650 America time, 250 America that it's all a part of our story. Like everybody's piece of what they did, how they came about in America, their family in America, their family out of America is a part of this story here that a lot of people are oblivious to and don't understand. And it also reinforces like why I did culturally lit. We need to know about the full diaspora. We need to both know about the history of everyone's origins here and the work that people put in here. And everybody's sense of how they make this home
Mm,
and
mm,
the perceptions of rich and poor, oppression, different and the ways in which um there is rebellion against the powers that be or the oppressor the constant culture the political climate that is imposed on people of color about how we have to fit in. Each story, as different as they are, has those kinds of similarities of how we fit in, how we make our way, how everyone has made their way in this country to create it.
mm. Well, they will be having this bigger conversation on June 28th, Sunday. It's a free event. It's at the New Haven Museum in New Haven, which is a lovely, beautiful space. So it's the four contemporary literature's most vital voices. They're going to come together and examine race and citizenship and what it means to write themselves into a national story that has not always made room for us. And
And
so I thank
Connecticut-based
y'all.
authors, we got talent in Connecticut, people.
So I'm so grateful that y'all got up early this morning to have this conversation. I'm looking forward to the bigger conversation on Sunday, and thank you all for the work that you do and the literary contributions that you have made to this country and to the literary world. So thank y'all for getting up early this morning, Krystal and Victoria and Ife.
Thank you for having us,
Thank you
Thank
for
you
Babs.
so
having
much.
us.
Enjoy
Thank
Thank
your
you.
day. Thank you, Harry. Log off anytime.
Love.